Hey everybody, it's time for NHL Games of the Week, where I look ahead to the upcoming week in the NHL and pick out which games I think are going to be the best, most exciting, and most fun to watch. So before we get into it, I just ask that you please subscribe if you are new and hit that thumbs up if you haven't yet. It helps the channel an absolute ton and is greatly appreciated. But let's look at the best games in the NHL this week. Starting today, the 14th, Sunday, I have the LA Kings and the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado is currently 4th in the West. LA is currently 5th. So these teams are fighting for playoff positioning. LA's had a pretty solid season this year compared to where they were at last year. Colorado has not been overly impressive, not as dominant as I thought they were going to be. This is a big game for them. I'm excited for this one. I will be streaming this game later tonight, and I think it's a big one out west. We have a ton of games to talk about on the 15th, Monday night. We have Philadelphia versus New York. The Rangers. This is a huge one for the slumping Flyers, who need to get some wins in the win column. They've lost a bunch in a row now, and they are fading in the standings fast. They need to get things figured out. Rangers are just below them in the standings. Rangers are trying to move themselves up into playoff contention, and they're going to look for a big win over the Flyers after coming off of a big win against the Bruins. Speaking of the Bruins, we have Boston and Pittsburgh on Monday as well. Pittsburgh's playing really, really well right now, climbing the standings up into playoff position. Boston desperately needs to get some wins under their belt. Another very disappointing loss on Saturday, yesterday to the Rangers, and Boston has no consistency in their game right now. So this is a huge game for both teams. Chicago and Florida also Monday night. I mean, these are two teams fighting for a position in the Central Division in playoff spots, third place team and fourth place team. This is a huge game for them, and it's going to be a really, really good one, and I expect it to be very, very close. And then finally, Monday night, we have the Battle of Alberta. That is always going to be on this list if it is happening, and it's happening twice this week, starting on Monday, where the Edmonton Oilers play the Calgary Flames. And let me tell you, I think this is going to be a really fun rivalry game to watch. I like what I've seen from Calgary under Daryl Sutter since the coaching change. Edmonton, obviously, right up there fighting for playoff position in the North. Calgary trying to get themselves into a playoff position. And it's Calgary and Edmonton. These teams hate each other. They had 2 fights the last time they played. I expect more physicality in this one. It's going to be fantastic. Moving on now to Tuesday, the 16th. I have the New York Islanders and the Washington Capitals. These are the top 2 teams in the East Division. First place Islanders, second place Capitals, both playing incredibly good hockey here recently. Their records in their last 10 games are phenomenal, and this is a big, big matchup between these two to see who's able to come out on top. We have Boston and Pittsburgh. Again, everything that I said about the first matchup applies to the second. This is a huge game. Pittsburgh playing well, Boston not so much. Huge game for Boston to try and gain some ground back in the East. And then also we have the Lightning and the Stars, a Stanley Cup Finals rematch from last year, Tuesday night. And Tampa fighting for first place with Carolina in the Central Division. They've been one of the best teams again this year. They're looking to get back and make sure that they stay, winning a large majority of their games. Whereas Dallas had a very, very disappointing season. And really, really struggling. And they need, if they're going to have any chance of pulling themselves back into playoff contention, they need to win big games like this and find a way to steal some points. Wednesday night, we have once again the New York Rangers and Philadelphia Flyers. Huge game, particularly for the Flyers. Oh, actually for both of them. Flyers so that they can try and stop the bleeding. Rangers trying to pull into a playoff spot. This is a huge game for both of those teams, just like the first matchup. And then the Oilers and Flames play again on Wednesday. I will be streaming both of these games Wednesday night. We're going to do a doubleheader, so that is going to be a lot of fun. And obviously, Battle of Alberta is huge. Moving on now to Thursday, another 4-game night where the Flyers play the Islanders. And again, this is massive. Islanders playing extremely well right now. The Flyers, the exact opposite. Huge game for Philadelphia to try and, pull themselves back up the standings here, but they have been in a bad slump. We'll see what they can do on Thursday night. We have Chicago versus Tampa Bay. These two teams played a couple weeks ago, a 3-game set, and it was absolutely awesome. And I am looking for that again. Chicago trying to maintain playoff position in the Central and hold on to that 4th spot. Tampa Bay trying to solidify first place. Huge measuring stick game for the Blackhawks as well. So really excited for that. We also have the Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers. These are the two teams fighting for second place in the North Division. With the way that the point totals are, second place could literally be on the line in this game. So it's a huge matchup up north between the Jets and the Oilers, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Also, Thursday night, we have the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche. Minnesota is actually higher than Colorado in the standings right now. The Wild have had a phenomenal season. Colorado, they've been good, but they haven't been great. They're going to look to pick up a big win against a tough opponent in the Wild in this game and prove that they are, going to get themselves to the level that they were supposed to be at this season. Friday night, the 19th, we have the New York Rangers playing the Washington Capitals. This is a huge, huge game. Capitals playing really, really well right now. Rangers, like I said, trying to pull themselves into playoff contention. This is a huge week for the New York Rangers. They have the Flyers and they have the Capitals. Two teams ahead of them in the standings that if they can pick up wins against, they could potentially fight for that 4th playoff spot. If they lose all of these games, their playoff hopes are going to be pretty much done. So this is a massive week for the Rangers. And they got huge matchups here, including this one against Washington. We also have Calgary against Toronto. So Calgary gets to play their arch rival in the Edmonton Oilers, and then they have to play the best team in the division, the first place team in the division, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Big week for the Calgary Flames. This is a huge matchup, and the Flames are going to need to take at least one of these, or at least a couple of these tough games, probably 3, if they're going to pull themselves into a playoff spot, which they are trying to do under Daryl Sutter. And then moving on to Saturday the 20th. A huge docket of great games on Saturday. We have the Wild and the Avalanche. So again, huge matchup there in the West. Everything from the first matchup applies to this one. We have the Blackhawks and the Lightning. Everything about the first game applies to this one again. I mean, huge Central Division and measuring stick game for the Chicago Blackhawks. The Rangers and the Capitals play again. Massive game for New York. The Flyers and the Islanders play again. Huge game, particularly for the Flyers. And then the Flames and the Leafs play again. Huge game, particularly for the Flames. So some huge, huge matchups on Saturday. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. So there you have it, folks. These are my games of the week for this week in the NHL. And as you can see, there are a lot of great matchups in the NHL this week. So cannot wait to watch as many of these as I can. With that being said, now like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon merchandise store donation link and now channel memberships are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.